Picture this: a shy Brazilian girl who moves through the halls like a ghost, invisible to most, but not to the predators who hunt in packs. This is Camila Oliveira at Maplewood High, where silence is mistaken for weakness and quiet strength goes unnoticed until it explodes in the most spectacular way imaginable. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in the crowded cafeteria of Maplewood High, a sprawling suburban school where popularity was currency and cruelty was often the exchange rate. At the far corner of the room, 16-year-old Camila Oliveira sat alone, her head bowed over a worn sketchbook, her dark hair falling like a curtain to shield her from the world. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Camila was the kind of girl who faded into the background, quiet, unassuming, with a wardrobe of oversized hoodies and sneakers that had seen better days. She wasn't invisible, though, not to them. The table across the room erupted in laughter, sharp and malicious, as Chloe Richards, the undisputed queen bee of Maplewood, tossed her platinum blonde hair and pointed a perfectly manicured finger at Camila. "Look at her, doodling her sad little life away," Chloe sneered, her voice carrying over the chatter. Her posse, Travis, DJ Johnson, and the others cackled in unison, their eyes glinting with the thrill of a hunt. Camila's shoulders hunched, her pencil freezing mid-stroke, but she didn't look up. She never did. It was easier to pretend she didn't hear, didn't feel the sting of their words slicing through her like shards of glass. But today, Chloe had something special planned. Something that would cement her reign and crush Camila's spirit once and for all. Sophie Rivera slid into the seat across from Camila, her lunch tray clattering against the table. "Don't listen to them," she whispered, her dark eyes flashing with protective anger. "They're just jealous because you actually have talent." Camila managed a weak smile, her fingers tightening around her pencil. Sophie was her only real friend at Maplewood, the social butterfly who somehow saw past Camila's quiet exterior to the fire burning within. "I'm fine," Camila murmured, but her voice betrayed her. She wasn't fine. She was tired of being the target, tired of shrinking into herself, tired of letting them win. What they didn't know was that beneath her shy demeanor lay a secret that would soon turn their world upside down. In the evenings, when the halls of Maplewood were empty and the cruel laughter had faded, Camila transformed. In the small gym across town, under the watchful eye of Coach Martinez, she moved like liquid fire, her body flowing through the ancient rhythms of capoeira, the Brazilian martial art her father had taught her before his sudden passing. But for now she remained silent, sketching phoenixes in her notebook while the vultures circled. The hunt was on, and Chloe Richards was ready for blood. "This is it," Chloe whispered to her crew, her eyes never leaving Camila's hunched form. "This is our viral moment. The freak won't know what hit her." Travis leaned in, his Letterman jacket creaking. "What's the plan, Chloe?" A wicked smile spread across Chloe's glossy lips. "We're going to give her the spotlight she's been avoiding, whether she wants it or not." The plan had been hatched the night before in Chloe's lavish bedroom, where the group had scrolled through TikTok, plotting their next viral moment. They needed something big, something that would make everyone talk about them, something that would cement their status as Maplewood's untouchables. "The glue," TJ had suggested, holding up a tube of industrial-strength adhesive he'd swiped from shop class. "We stick her to her chair during lunch. Imagine her squirming, crying, while we film it. It'll blow up online." The others had clapped with delight, already imagining the likes and shares rolling in, their status solidified by Camila's humiliation. They didn't know Camila, not really. They didn't know about the fire smoldering beneath her silence, or the secret she'd been keeping. A secret that would turn their prank into their downfall. Now, as they watched her sketch, phones already positioned and ready, Chloe felt the familiar rush of power coursing through her veins. She lived for moments like this, moments where she could remind everyone exactly who ruled Maplewood High. "Remember," she hissed to her crew, "we go live the second she's stuck. I want this everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Everyone needs to see what happens when you're a loser at my school." Camila looked up briefly, sensing the weight of their stares, but quickly returned to her drawing. It was a phoenix wings, spread wide, rising from flames. Sophie noticed the sketch and smiled sadly. "That's beautiful," Sophie said softly. "Why don't you ever show anyone your art?" "Because they wouldn't understand," Camila replied, not looking up. Her voice carried a sadness that made Sophie's heart ache. Across the cafeteria, Chloe stood up, smoothing down her designer skirt. "Showtime," she announced to her crew. The trap was set. The cameras were ready, and Camila had no idea what was coming. The moment of truth arrived like a predator, stalking its prey. Chloe approached Camila's table with the confidence of a queen surveying her kingdom. Her crew flanked her, phones already recording, capturing every angle of what they believed would be their masterpiece of humiliation. "Well, well, well," Chloe purred, stopping directly in front of Camila's table. "If it isn't our little artist, what are you drawing today? More sad girl fantasies?" Camila's hand stilled on her pencil, her heart beginning to race. She could feel the eyes of the entire cafeteria turning toward them, the familiar weight of unwanted attention pressing down on her shoulders. "Leave her alone, Chloe," Sophie said, standing up to face the queen bee. But Chloe barely glanced at her. "Sit down, Sophie. This doesn't concern you." Chloe's voice was ice cold, but her eyes never left Camila. "I'm talking to our little wallflower here." The cafeteria had gone quiet, conversations dying as students sensed drama brewing. This was the moment Chloe lived for the entire schools. Attention focused on her, everyone waiting to see what she would do next. "You know what your problem is, Camila?" Chloe continued, her voice rising so everyone could hear. "You think you can just sit here, acting all mysterious and artsy, like you're better than everyone else, but you're not. You're just a sad little immigrant girl who doesn't belong here." The words hit Camila like physical blows, each syllable designed to cut deep. She felt her face burning with shame and anger, her hands trembling as she tried to focus on her drawing. "I said, are you listening? To me?" Chloe's voice turned sharp, dangerous. That's when Travis moved in from behind, squeezing a generous line of industrial adhesive onto Camila's chair while she was distracted by Chloe's verbal assault. The clear, sticky substance spread quickly across the plastic seat, invisible but deadly effective. "Why don't you look at me when I'm talking to you?" Chloe demanded, reaching out to slam Camila's sketchbook shut. Camila finally looked up, her dark eyes meeting Chloe's ice blue ones. For a moment, something flickered in Camila's gaze, something that made Chloe pause. But it was gone so quickly that Chloe convinced herself she'd imagined it. "There we go," Chloe said with satisfaction. "Now, why don't you stand up? Show everyone how brave you are." Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Camila's heart pounded as she tried to stand, only to realize with growing horror that she couldn't move. The adhesive had set, bonding her jeans to the chair like cement. She tugged harder, panic rising in her throat as she realized she was truly stuck. The laughter started smaller. Few snickers from Chloe's crew, but it grew like wildfire as more students noticed Camila's predicament. Phones appeared from every direction, capturing her humiliation from every angle. "Oh my God, she's stuck," someone shouted. "This is hilarious." Another voice called out. Chloe's smile was triumphant, victorious. "Looks like you're part of the furniture now, Camila. How fitting." But as the laughter reached a crescendo and the cameras rolled, something shifted in Camila's expression. The panic faded, replaced by something else entirely. Something that would change everything. This was the moment that would define everything. The moment when the quiet girl would either break completely or discover who she really was. Camila sat frozen in her chair, surrounded by laughter and flashing phones, feeling smaller than she'd ever felt in her life. The adhesive held her firmly in place, and with each tug against it, the laughter grew louder, more vicious. "Someone help her," Sophie pleaded, but her voice was drowned out by the crowd. "This is gold," Travis laughed, zooming in on Camila's face with his phone. "Say something, freak. Give us a show." Chloe stood over Camila like a conquering general, her phone held high as she live-streamed to her thousands of followers. And here we have Camila Oliveira, everybody Maplewood's most pathetic student, literally stuck in place. Seems appropriate, doesn't it? The comments were pouring in on Chloe's stream. "Oh my God, this is cruel but hilarious. Poor girl. You're terrible, Chloe, but I can't stop watching." But something was happening inside Camila. As the humiliation reached its peak, as the laughter became a roar, as she felt more trapped than ever, something clicked. She thought of her father's voice, gentle but strong. "Minha filha, capoeira isn't just about fighting. It's about finding your flow when everything around you is chaos. It's about turning defense into attack, weakness into strength." She thought of Coach Martinez's words from their last session. "You have fire in you, Camila. Don't let anyone extinguish it." She thought of all the evenings spent in the gym, her body learning the ancient rhythms of resistance, her spirit growing stronger even as she remained silent at school. And then she thought of her mother, working double shifts to keep them afloat, believing in her daughter's potential even when Camila couldn't see it herself. The laughter began to fade as students noticed the change in Camila's posture. Her shoulders straightened, her breathing steadied. Her hands stopped shaking. Slowly, deliberately, Camila reached into her backpack and pulled out her phone. Her movements were calm, controlled, purposeful, nothing like the panic struggling from moments before. Chloe frowned, sensing a shift in the energy. "What are you doing, freak?" Camila opened an app on her phone, something custom, sleek, professional looking. She tapped a button labeled Multi-Stream, and a red recording light blinked to life. "Hey everyone," Camila said, her voice cutting through the noise with unexpected clarity and strength. "Camila Oliveira here, live from Maplewood High where Chloe Richards, Travis Johnson, and their crew just glued me to my chair as a prank." The cafeteria went dead silent. Phones lowered as confusion rippled through the crowd. "What the hell?" Chloe started, lunging for Camila's phone, but Camila was faster, holding it out of reach with surprising agility. "They thought this would break me," Camila continued, her voice growing stronger with each word. "They thought humiliating a quiet girl would be their ticket to viral fame. But they're about to learn something very important about who they're messing with." The revolution began with a single stream, but it would end with the complete destruction of everything Chloe Richards had built. Camila's custom app wasn't just recording, it was broadcasting simultaneously to TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and a dozen other platforms, bypassing the school's Wi-Fi restrictions through a sophisticated workaround she'd coded herself. This was her masterpiece, built during countless sleepless nights, and now it was her weapon. "For 3 years, I've sat quietly while Chloe and her friends have terrorized students at this school," Camila said, her voice steady and clear as her viewer count began climbing rapidly. "They've spread rumors, destroyed reputations, and made kids afraid to come to school. And the administration has done nothing." The chat was exploding. "Yes, girl, expose them. This is insane. Go, Camila." 100 viewers became 1,000, then 5,000, then 10,000. Chloe's face had gone white, her own stream forgotten as she watched her world beginning to crumble in real time. "Turn it off," she hissed. "Turn it off right now." "Why?" Camila asked, tilting her head with newfound confidence. Isn't this what you wanted? Attention? Everyone watching. Well, now they are. Tell them about the glue, Chloe. Tell them how you planned this. Travis stepped forward menacingly, but Sophie moved to block him, and suddenly other students were creating a protective circle around Camila. The power dynamics in the room were shifting by the second. Let me tell you all about Chloe Richards. Camila continued, her viewer count now climbing past 50,000 as the stream was shared and reshared across social media. The girl who thinks cruelty is currency. The girl who's built her entire identity on making others feel small. She began naming names, detailing incidents, exposing years of systematic bullying with the precision of someone who'd been taking notes, waiting for this moment. Every cruel comment, every humiliating prank, every life Chloe had made miserable, it all poured out in a flood of truth that couldn't be stopped. The comments were a tsunami of support. This is the most badass thing I've ever seen. Chloe is done. You're a hero. This needs to go viral everywhere. And it was going viral. News outlets were picking it up. Influencers were sharing it. The hashtag justice for CAMILA was trending. You have no idea what you've just done, Chloe whispered. But her voice lacked its usual venom. For the first time in her life, she looked afraid. Camila smiled, not the weak, apologetic smile she'd worn for years, but something new, something powerful. I know exactly what I've done, she said. I've shown everyone who you really are. And now, since you were so kind to set up this situation for me, ... With fluid grace that shocked everyone watching, Camila began to rock in her chair, building momentum. Then, in one explosive movement that seemed to defy physics, she twisted and flipped, ripping free from the adhesive with a sound like thunder. She landed in a perfect capoeira Jenga stance, her body flowing like water, like fire, like everything she'd kept hidden finally breaking free. The cafeteria erupted. The stream exploded. And Chloe Richards' reign of terror came crashing down in the most spectacular way imaginable. The revolution had begun, and there was no going back. The aftermath was swift, brutal, and absolutely devastating for anyone who'd ever stood with Chloe Richards. Within hours of Camila's livestream ending, the video had been viewed over 2 million times. News outlets picked it up. Influencers were resharing it with captions like, "This is what standing up for yourself looks like," and "Queen energy right here." The hashtag justice for CAMILA was trending worldwide, but it wasn't alone. Hashtag Chloe Toxic and hashtag Maplewood Bullies were right there with it. CAMILA sat in Principal Williams' office the next morning, no longer the cowering girl who'd been glued to her chair. Her back was straight, her eyes clear, and when she spoke, her voice carried the confidence of someone who'd found her power and wasn't giving it back. "Miss Oliveira," Principal Williams said, shuffling papers nervously. "What happened yesterday?" Unprecedented. The school board is very concerned about the negative attention this has brought to Maplewood. "Are they concerned about the negative attention?" Camila asked calmly. "Or about the fact that everyone now knows what really goes on here?" Coach Martinez sat beside her, having insisted on being present as her advocate. "Principal Williams, with all due respect, this girl just exposed years of systematic bullying that your administration ignored. Maybe the concern should be about fixing the problem, not managing the PR." Outside in the hallways, the power structure of Maplewood High was crumbling. Students who'd been silent victims for years were finding their voices. Amber Dawson, the quiet girl who'd secretly filmed additional footage of Chloe's crew's reaction, had uploaded her own video showing their panic and desperate attempts to delete evidence. Chloe's social media empire was in ruins. Her follower count was hemorrhaging as comments flooded in. "How could you be so cruel? This is disgusting behavior. You deserve everything coming to you." Brand partnerships were being canceled. College scouts were reconsidering. Her carefully curated image lay in tatters. The glue was Travis's idea. Chloe was screaming in the hallway, her usual composure completely shattered. I never told him to use industrial adhesive. This is all blown out of proportion. Asterisk asterisk, but her crew was abandoning ship. Travis, faced with potential criminal charges for assault, was already pointing fingers. Chloe planned the whole thing. She told us to film it for her followers. Sophie found Camila after the meeting with the principal, her eyes shining with pride and amazement. "I can't believe you did that," she said, hugging her friend tightly. "I mean, I always knew you had it in you, but that was legendary." Camila smiled, but there was something thoughtful in her expression. "Sophie, I need to tell you something. This isn't over. What I exposed yesterday was just the surface. There's so much more." Asterisk asterisk, what do you mean? Camila's phone buzzed with a notification. Another message from an anonymous account. "If you want to see how deep Chloe's cruelty really goes, check the shared drive. Password, Phoenix 2024. But be careful, some of these files could destroy more than just her." The reversal of power was complete, but the real reckoning was just beginning. The suspension letters came down like hammers of justice, but they were just the beginning of Chloe's fall from grace. 3 days after the viral live stream, Chloe Richards, Travis Johnson, and 2 other members of their crew were officially suspended, pending a full investigation. The school board had no choice. The pressure from parents, media, and the viral outcry was too intense to ignore. But for Camila, the victory felt bittersweet. Her follower count had exploded to over 500,000 across all platforms, with messages of support pouring in from around the world. Teen activists were reaching out. Anti-bullying organizations wanted her to speak at events. A publisher had even contacted her about writing a book. "I don't know if I'm ready for all this," Camila confessed to Coach Martinez during their session at the gym. Her capoeira movements were more fluid than ever, but her mind was clearly wrestling with something. "Power comes with responsibility. Minha filha," Coach Martinez said, using the same endearment her father once had. "The question is, what are you going to do with the platform you've built?" That question haunted Camila as she walked through the halls of Maplewood. Students she'd never spoken to before approached her with their own stories of bullying, asking for advice, looking to her as some kind of savior. Teachers who'd previously overlooked her were now trying to curry favor. The attention was overwhelming. Sophie noticed her friend's struggle. "You're having second thoughts, aren't you?" They were sitting in their usual spot in the cafeteria, the same table where it all began, though now it felt like hallowed ground. Students kept glancing over, some with admiration, others with curiosity, a few with resentment. "I keep thinking about what I found in those files," Camila said quietly. "Chloe wasn't just cruel to me. She had dirt on half the school. Embarrassing photos, private conversations, family secrets. She was blackmailing people, Sophie. Some of them are victims." 2. The anonymous tip had led Camila to a treasure trove of Chloe's digital manipulation. Screenshots of private conversations she'd manipulated to spread rumors, photos taken without consent, even evidence of her sabotaging other students' college applications. "So what are you going to do?" Sophie asked. Camila's phone buzzed with yet another interview request, this one from a major news network. The world was watching, waiting to see what the quiet girl who'd found her voice would do next. "I'm going to finish what I started," Camila said, her voice growing stronger. "But I'm going to do it right. Some of these people deserve justice, but others deserve protection. I need to be smarter about this." What she didn't know was that Chloe, desperate and humiliated, was planning one final, devastating counterattack. The truth bomb was about to detonate, and it would reshape everything anyone thought they knew about. Maplewood High.cmil. I spent the weekend carefully going through the files she'd accessed. What she found was worse than she'd imagined. Chloe hadn't just been a mean girl, she'd been running a sophisticated operation of social manipulation and blackmail that reached into every corner of the school. There were folders labeled with students' names, each containing compromising information, private photos stolen from phones, screenshots of vulnerable moments shared in confidence, even recordings of conversations she'd manipulated people into having. "This is criminal-level stuff," Sophie breathed as Camila showed her a fraction of what she'd found. "How did she get away with this for so long?" "Because she was smart about it," Camila replied grimly. "She never targeted anyone with enough social power to fight back, until me." But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. In a folder marked Insurance, Camila found evidence that Chloe had been feeding information to college admissions offices about her rivals, sabotaging their applications with carefully crafted anonymous tips about supposed academic dishonesty or behavioral problems. "She destroyed futures," Camila whispered, staring at email after email. Jenny Martinez didn't get into Northwestern because Chloe sent them a fake tip about her plagiarizing. Marcus Chen lost his scholarship because she convinced them he was using performance-enhancing drugs. Coach Martinez found her that evening in the gym, sitting on the floor with her laptop, tears streaming down her face. "What's wrong, Camila?" "I found something," she said, showing him the files. "Coach, she didn't just hurt people's feelings. She ruined lives. And I'm the only one who can expose it. But if I do..." "If you do, some innocent people might get hurt in the crossfire," he finished. Understanding immediately, Camila nodded. "Some of these files contain things that could destroy relationships, embarrass families, hurt people who were already victims. But if I don't expose this, she gets away with it. And who knows how many more lives she ruin." That night, Camila made a decision that would define not just her immediate future, but the kind of person she was going to become. She began designing something new, a careful, surgical expose that would target Chloe's crimes while protecting her victims. But she had no idea that Chloe, backed into a corner and desperate, was about to make the biggest mistake of her life. The last battle was about to begin, and this time, everything was on the line. Chloe's counterattack came on Monday morning, swift and vicious. Using her remaining connections and a deepfake video she'd paid someone to create, she launched a smear campaign claiming that Camila had hacked the school's systems and fabricated evidence against her. "She's a cyber criminal," Chloe declared. In a carefully staged video posted to her remaining social media accounts, everything she showed you was fake, manipulated. "She's the real bully here, hiding behind her victim act while destroying innocent people." The deepfake was sophisticated, showing Camila supposedly bragging about framing Chloe, laughing about manipulating public opinion. For a few hours, it worked. Doubt began creeping into the comments on Camila's posts. Is this real? Maybe we're wrong about her. This is why you shouldn't trust viral videos. Principal Williams called an emergency assembly, clearly hoping to contain the situation before it spiraled further out of control. The entire school filed into the auditorium, the tension palpable as students took sides. Camila sat in the front row, her laptop bag beside her, calm despite the storm raging around her. Sophie squeezed her hand. "Are you ready for this?" "I've been ready my whole life," Camila replied. When Principal Williams introduced her, the auditorium erupted in a mixture of cheers and boos. Camila walked to the podium, her movements fluid and confident, every inch the warrior she'd become. 3 weeks ago, I was glued to a chair in the cafeteria while my classmates laughed and filmed. She began, her voice carrying clearly through the space. Today, I stand here with evidence of a conspiracy of cruelty that reaches far beyond one prank. She connected her laptop to the projection system, and the screen behind her came alive with meticulously organized evidence. Not the raw files that could hurt innocent people, but a carefully curated presentation that exposed Chloe's methods without victimizing anyone further. This is how Chloe Richards operated, Camila continued, showing screenshots of manipulation tactics, evidence of sabotage, proof of systematic bullying. She didn't just target individuals. She created a system designed to keep everyone afraid, everyone under her control. The auditorium had gone completely silent. Students stared at the screen in shock as the scope of Chloe's operations became clear. But here's the thing about bullies, Camila said, her voice growing stronger. They only have power if we give it to them, if we stay silent, if we accept that cruelty is just part of life. She clicked to her final slide, a new app interface, sleek and professional. I'm launching Safe Space, a platform where students can report bullying anonymously, connect with resources, and support each other. No more suffering in silence. No more letting fear win. The response was thunderous. Students leaped to their feet, cheering and applauding. Even some teachers were crying. But the real victory came when Amber Dawson stood up in the back of the auditorium. Then Marcus Chen. Then Jenny Martinez. One by one, dozens of students rose, each one a victim who'd found their voice, because Camila had found hers first. Chloe Richards, watching from the hallway through the open doors, finally understood that her reign was over. Not just suspended, or temporarily damaged completely, utterly finished. The quiet girl had won. 6 months later, everything had changed. And yet some things remained beautifully the same. Camila walked through the halls of Maplewood High with her head held high, no longer the invisible girl who hid behind her hair. Students stopped her, constantly, not to gawk or mock, but to share their stories, ask for advice, or simply thank her for changing the culture of their school. Safe Space had grown beyond anything she'd imagined. The app was now used in schools across the country, featured in anti-bullying campaigns, and had helped thousands of students find support and resources. Major tech companies were offering her internships. Colleges were competing for her attention. You know what the best part is? Sophie said as they sat at their old table in the cafeteria, now called Camila's Corner by the student body. You didn't just beat Chloe, you became everything she pretended to be. Camila laughed, sketching in the same notebook where she'd once drawn phoenixes while hiding from the world. Now she was designing new features for Safe Space, planning her next coding project, preparing for a TEDx talk about youth empowerment. I keep thinking about that day, she mused, when I was stuck to that chair, feeling so small and helpless. If someone had told me then that I'd be here now. You would have believed him, Sophie interrupted. Deep down, you always knew who you really were. Coach Martinez appeared beside their table, grinning broadly. Ready for tonight's demonstration? Camila was performing capoeira at the school's multicultural night, not hiding her talents anymore, but celebrating them. The same movements that had helped her escape Chloe's trap were now inspiring other students to embrace their own unique strengths. As the final bell rang and students began filing out, Camila packed up her things slowly, savoring the moment. Principal Williams approached her table, his expression humble and grateful. Miss Oliveira, I wanted to thank you again. The climate at this school has completely transformed. Applications are up, bullying incidents are down 85%, and test scores are at an all-time high. Thank you, Principal Williams. But you know this was never really about me, right? It was about giving everyone a voice. He nodded and walked away, leaving Camila and Sophie alone in the cafeteria where it all began. So what's next for the girl who changed everything? Sophie asked. Camila smiled, closing her notebook and standing up from the table where she'd once been trapped. Whatever comes next, I'll face it standing up. As they walked out of the cafeteria together, the late afternoon sun streaming through the windows illuminated the space where a quiet girl had once sat alone, sketching phoenixes, and dreaming of rising from the ashes. She had risen. She had soared. And she was just getting started. the revolution was complete. But the story, Camila's story, was only beginning. Up next we have 2 more incredible stories that are waiting for you. Just click the image you want to watch and it will take you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot.